Hello friends, today we are meeting to discuss a small but important concept in CMA Part 1, which is dealing with budgets. And this is a very small concept, but nevertheless an important one from the exam point of view. Many times when we read the topic of budgeting, this just flies off and we don't concentrate on the concept of budgetary slack. So today I am here to discuss the small but important concept in your topic of budgetary control, and let us see the meaning of this budgetary slack, because what comes in the examination is the meaning of budgetary slack, how it can be done, why it is done, and who does it, and what are the limitations. Though in most of the materials you will find that a very small paragraph is given, or maybe just 2 or 3 lines are given, but actually we have to study and write. We have to understand this concept and write all these points if asked in the examination, and many times it has been important for the exam point of view. So if it comes in the examination, what can come? We can be asked the meaning of budgetary slack. We can be asked who are the people who are creating this budgetary slack, who is responsible for this, why do they create this budgetary slack, and is there any benefit or are there any limitations on account of this budgetary slack. So today we are going to discuss this small but important concept. So what we are going to discuss here is first the meaning of budgetary slack. Okay, so when we talk about budgetary slack, what it actually means and how can we interpret this? If I am writing an answer for the exam, what am I expected to write? First of all, the meaning of budgetary slack, it is the excess of resources budgeted over the resources which are actually necessary to achieve organizational goals. Listen to what I am saying. It is the excess of resources which are budgeted, in the sense of the resources which are mentioned in the budget, over the resources which are necessary to achieve the organizational goals. What does it result in? It results in 2 things. One, underestimation of revenues, or second, overestimation of expenses. So whenever budgetary slack is introduced into the budget, either of these 2 things or both of these things may happen. Either that we are underestimating our revenues or we are overestimating our revenues. Now how is that going to benefit us, or how is it going to benefit those who are creating these budgetary slacks? Let us see with the help of an example. Let us take an example which will discuss and which will explain to us the first part. The first part I am going to explain to you with an example, whereby I say that if a manager expects a revenue of $1 million, but he shows in the budget only $800,000. The manager is actually expecting $1 million, but does not disclose in the budget that the expected revenue or the target revenue as $1 million. On the contrary, he shows the revenue expected in the budget as $800,000. Now this will be an underestimation of income. What will happen if the actual revenue turns out to be actually $1 million? How much have I shown in the budget? I have shown in the budget only $800 million as my target. And when I actually achieve the revenue of $1 million, I can tell my stakeholders, I can tell my shareholders, I can tell my bosses, look here, we had targeted only for $800,000, but because of our efficiency, we have achieved a figure higher than the targeted figure, and that is $1 million. So, why will a manager normally do this? Let us see the reasons also at a later stage. But now we are discussing underestimation of income and overestimation of income, the meaning of budgetary slack. So, what is the budgetary slack over here? The budgetary slack over here is the difference between the actual results, which may be, or the expected results, which is $1 million, and the budgeted figure, that is $800,000. That difference is $200,000. Okay. Second example, let us take, where we have the other part of this, that is overestimation of expenses. A manager is expecting that in the forthcoming year, the total of the expenses will be $400,000. And he knows for sure that it will be in and around this figure. But he does not show the figure of $400,000 in the budget. He shows a higher figure of $650,000. $650,000 is shown in the budget. That means we are showing more expenses in the budget than we assume it will happen. What will be the result of this? When the actuals run out and we find the actual expenses, we may find that the actual expenses are only $400,000. So now the management gets an opportunity to inform or to tell the shareholders or the stakeholders or their bosses, look here, we were expecting the expenses to be $650,000, but because of our efficiency, we have been able to control the cost, we have been able to reduce the cost and maintain it at $400,000. So by doing this, I am actually overestimating my expenses and underestimating my revenue. So this is what happens when we have budgetary slacks introduced in our budget. Now let us come to the next part. What do we conclude from this? What can be concluded from this? We can conclude that, number one, budgetary slack means deliberately cushioning the budgets, either by showing less revenue in the budget than what is expected, or showing higher expenses in the budget than what is expected. Okay, so this is what we normally have in the budgetary slack. Now, let us go to the next part. Who creates the budgetary slack? Normally we find that when we have a concept of participative budget, we involve those people who are employees in the organization, and it is normally a bottom-up budget, bottom to top budget. That means people at the lower level management and people at the mid-level management, they are entrusted with this job of preparing the budgets for the respective departments. So normally we will find that a budgetary slack is built into the budget by the lower and mid-level management. But sometimes we do find that the top level management also includes the budgetary slack. Okay? Next we come to the point of what are the reasons for creating a budgetary slack? Why does the manager or why do managers create this budgetary slack? Let us see one of the reasons. The first one, a manager who feels that his request may be cut during negotiations may introduce budgetary slack. Okay? So suppose I have a feeling that if I propose to my seniors in the budget that my actual expenses will be $400,000. They may say, no, it is too high, reduce it to $350,000. But if I show them that the expenses are likely to be $650,000, they may reduce it to $600,000. So I still keep my $400,000 intact. Suppose I inform the management, I inform my bosses that the next year the revenue target is likely to be $1 million, and the top management says, no, you have to achieve at least $1.5 million. So when the actual results come, I may not be able to show that figure. But if I show $800,000 in the budget as my expected revenue for next year, the management may say 800 is too low, try to achieve at least $900,000. So when my actual is $1 million, I can show the management that yes, I have been efficient. You had increased the limit from $800,000 to $900,000, but I have done better than that by achieving a revenue of $1 million. Okay, so where the management feels, where the managers feel that their arguments will not be accepted at the top level, they try to build in this budgetary slack. Second, where bonus and incentive is linked to management performance. So my bonuses, my incentives are related to whether I achieve my targets or not. So if I show the actual targets and I don't achieve them, then I may not get my bonus, I may not get my incentive. But if I show a less revenue, $800,000, and my actual revenue turns out to be more than $800,000, then yes, people will say that I am efficient and they will reward me, they will give me a bonus, they will give me an incentive. So for this purpose, budgetary slacks are built in. Then we can have budgetary slack is sometimes built to avoid punishment that is normally attached to underperformance, that I have not been able to meet my targets. Punishment in the form of no bonuses, no hikes, no promotions. Okay? To show the stakeholders that the management has been efficient in earning more than expected and has been able to control the cost. I have to impress my stakeholders, I have to impress my shareholders, I have to impress my top bosses that yes, I am a good candidate, I am an efficient person, I am an efficient employee. Next thing that we have to see here is the negative impact that budgetary slack is likely to create. What are the points over here? What are the negative things that we can talk about? First is company's performance gets badly affected because, as we have seen, because of underperformance, which is hidden, which is not revealed, because of inefficiency, which is not revealed, which is actually rewarded, the overall company's performance may be affected. Second, employees seem to be efficient when they are not efficient. They have not been able to meet their targets, but because of budgetary slack built into the budget, they prove themselves to be efficient employees. Incentives or bonus is not based on actual and true performance. So you are rewarding the wrong employees. You are rewarding those employees who have underperformed, who have not met with the targets. Stakeholders are misled. You are misleading the stakeholders by showing them that you are efficient when you are not. Underutilization of resources. So these are the negative impacts. How to avoid budgetary slack? Very simple. I would say that we are having these tools of activity-based budgeting. So I can implement activity-based budgeting, or I can implement zero-based budgeting to avoid budgetary slacks being built into the budgets. Or do not link the incentives or the bonus to performance or to achieve some targets, because that creates an opportunity for the managers to hike the expenses and to lower the revenue targets so that they can show that they have been efficient in order to earn those bonuses or incentives. Have the budget review before you present the budget and it is accepted. Let the budget be reviewed by a financial expert, a budget expert, before it goes for acceptance. Budget should be used only for planning purpose. It should not be used for performance evaluation. So these are the ways in which we can avoid the budgetary slack. So friends, in the examination you can be asked a question as to the meaning of a budgetary slack, who are the creators of budgetary slack, what are the limitations that we encounter in a budgetary slack. Okay, so we end this video today here. There are many more concepts with which I will be coming up with, and I'm sure you will enjoy learning CMA US with me, part 1 as well as part 2. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel so that you get the updates or whatever new videos are put on, which are shared on the YouTube, you will be getting a direct notification of that. Thank you. Have a nice day.